Hello everyone, this is going to be number 77 for common speaking errors. Our sentence on the board reads, "My 5 years old son is crying." Okay, so saying my 5 years old son. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're using 5 years old to describe the subject of the sentence. So if you are describing your son as 5 years old, you need to get rid of the S. So we want to get rid of that. You should just say, "My 5 year old son is crying," because this expression here is describing this. Now, if your son is 1, then you can say, my 1 year old son." So that's easy because it's just 1. So you obviously know you don't need the S at the end of year there. But my 2-year-old son, my 3-year-old son, my 4-year-old son. Those when you're using when you're using this to describe your son or your daughter, make sure you are not using the S at the end. Now, when we're going to use the S is when we are describing our son or our daughter's age. So in this case, if we start our sentence with my son, you would say, "My son is 5 years old." So we're describing the state of being of our son. So my son is 5 years old. So that's when we would use the plural form years. When someone asks us, "How old is your son?" My son is 5 years old. Now, if it's 1 year old, your son is 1, then you would just say, "My son is a year old." You can say a year old or 1 year old. My son is 1 year old. That's fine. But yes, either way, if you're using it to describe your son, then you would, to describe your son doing something, then do not add the S if this is coming before this subject. If you are describing your son's age, then you can use the S. My son is 2 years old. So, yeah, that is going to conclude lesson number 77, and I will see you in lesson number 78.